Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first coordinator call for 2023. Hope your new year is off to a great start. We'll start with our land acknowledgement today. We acknowledge the Coast Salish Indigenous peoples on whose ancestral lands our Department of Health campus resides, and from whom this land was forcibly removed by federal accession through the Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854. We acknowledge the tribes and bands of the Medicine Creek Treaty, including the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Puyallup tribes, who are the traditional custodians of this land and whose stewardship of this land has allowed this region to thrive. We respectfully acknowledge the enslaved people, primarily of African descent, on whose exploited labor this country was built with little to no recognition. We also acknowledge that in many ways, the exploitation of the labor of BIPOC individuals and communities continues today and shapes community health and food systems. Let's move into our icebreaker. Do you all have a favorite activity or tradition that goes along with starting a new calendar year? Feel free to chime in, unmute yourself and chime in, or put it in the chat. Oh, making homemade ravioli. That sounds great. A new quilt at the beginning of each year. Wow. And then do you finish that quilt within the same year? How long does it take you to finish a quilt?
It depends. If I'm diligent about it, it can take a week or two. Sometimes it takes a year or two. It just depends.
I'm impressed. Soba noodles. That sounds great. Black-eyed peas. Watching UGA Bulldogs. Cleaning cutters. A new family devotional with kiddos. That sounds great. New Year's cards instead of Christmas cards. It gives you a little extra time, doesn't it? Oh, that's nice. A letter that goes with it to talk about your year. 30 days of yoga. 30 days straight, Noah? A murder mystery outdoor wood-fired pizza party. That sounds fun. I'm in the New Year's camp too, although I haven't done mine yet. Well, thank you everyone for chiming in. Feel free to go ahead and add yours if you come along and haven't yet. That was nice. We have on our agenda, we have a set of reminders for you. I'm not going to go through these. You've already received them by way of our SnapEd communications, but there's some due dates for you. And you can just use the agenda as a reference if you like for those as well. And then the one that I would like to point out, I'll move into talking about the new interactive PSE course just a little bit. there's a Cornell PSC training. And this training is encouraged for people. We'd like for people to aim for one person from their agency to attend. There are also scheduled discussion groups that go along with the training. When you go to register for this training, you select one of the 4 discussion groups that meets, they meet at different days and times, so you can select one that works for you. And if you like, new staff can take this training instead of the systems approaches training that's been required. So we went ahead and put the information and registration link in the agenda here so you can access that to sign up for it. And with that, I will turn it over to Morgan.
Thanks, Amy. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Morgan Hartline for those who are new, and I supervise the SNAP-Ed team here at the DOH Implementing Agency. I do want to do a quick check. Do we have any newbies on the call today?
What do you consider new?
Hey, Jeff, go ahead and introduce yourself. I don't know if everyone's met you.
I'm Jeff Mathias. I worked with WSDA, food assistance and farm to community programming. Been here for about 4 months. That's why I ask. I'm still feel a little new.
Oh yeah. It'll feel new for, I don't know, a year.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff.
My name is Rebecca Moon, and I'm from Kittitas County Public Health Department. I'm kind of standing in for Cameron Walker.
Okay, welcome, Rebecca.
This is Adrienne, and Myra is out with the root canal, so I'm standing in for her today.
Oh no, we'll be thinking of her. I hope it all goes well.
It was yesterday, so she's not here today.
Okay. Ooh. Speedy recovery. Fingers crossed. Thanks, Adrienne. Okay, I see we have before I move on, we have a question in the chat regarding the Cornell PSC training. Can new staff join if they come in late January? That's a good question. One of the questions that we still have yet to hear back, and anyone on the team, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure how, if people will be able to take the training, like let's say they even, join SNAP-Ed in May. Is the Cornell training still going to be available? And I don't know that we know the answer to that question yet. But that is something that we will reach out to CTW and find out. Any other questions on that training before I move on?
Thank you, Morgan.
I think so, Megumi. I think they would still be able to register and maybe catch up even if they aren't a part of like that first wave of groups. I would think that that would be okay. All right, so FY23 amendments. We will soon start the process on our side to get our templates and things put together so that we can give you all plenty of time to request amendments for this year yet. And of course, timeline is dependent on not only us, but also DSHS and FNS. My hope is that everything could be implemented in May like it was last year. But again, that's all dependent on others too. We still do not have we still don't have word from DSHS on what our underspend was from last year. So until we get that kind of information and approval, we can't move forward yet to know what we have to work with. So these amendments can be anything under the sun. You can asking for more funding, FNS required requests like cell phones or iPads, tablets, that kind of thing. So we'll continue to kind of keep a watch out from DSHS and let you know as soon as we have more information. Any questions on that? Linda, hey.
Hey, so if we have some minor shifts of dollars from one area of goods and services or travel to another, that were unexpected, but small in quantity or dollar value, what does that look like in the amendment process, since it's not something that would have to be approved by someone other than DOH?
Yeah, so that for things like that, work with your contract manager, and those, yeah, if it doesn't need any approval, it should be just a quick note to the contract manager, letting them know the changes you want to make, and they'll let you know if they have questions and approval.
And once again, when did you say when they were going to be ready? The contracts will be. We will get them through Box, I know, but if you said when they would be ready, I missed it.
Oh, my hope is for May, for everything, for all approvals to be through, and for new dollars to be able to be spent.
Okay, but otherwise what I asked about, we just can go to our lead to figure that out. Okay,
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. Adrian, I think you were next.
I think you just answered it, but I just want to clarify, because Myra attends most of these meetings and she does provide good update. So for those of us, for example, our 3 years ends this year, so there may be an opportunity for new funding for the next cycle, or do we need to apply? Do we need to reapply?
That will be my next topic.
Okay.
There won't be, I think in our last coordinator call, it was kind of an open forum. And so there were questions of, is there going to be another RFA? And at this point, no, there's no way we could even possibly do that. So we still are waiting from DSHS and leadership team to figure out what this next 3-year plan looks like. And I'm sure, as all of you are feeling, we are getting nervous, but planning will be underway very soon, starting with leadership team and then moving forward. So I'll give a little more detail on that in a minute.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. Hope.
Hi, everybody. My question is about travel. So in the template, when we prepared our budgets in the fall, or for the fall, we had a bunch of like required travel to put in. One of those was for a retreat of some sort. Is that something that we should still be expecting to spend, or we left a lot of money in travel last year because we never went anywhere and had to put it in there. So I'm just wondering if that money that's sitting in travel should just stay there and we don't even worry about it, or if it's something we have to work with. Your look on your face tells me that you're just as curious about this as I
am. Leave it for now. There are talks of a forum planning committee restarting. But there's questions kind of from us as implementing agencies of the where, when, how, because the year we're already in Q2 and there's a lot of like questions around it. So keep it in your budget for now, and we will update as soon as we possibly can.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Hope. Okay, and then, the question on everyone's mind every month, right? So the next 3-year plan. So leadership team is meeting with a facilitator next week to get some of the kind of first discussions started. I believe at that meeting, we will try to establish a timeline, and then that can help us plan moving forward. So what's nice about having Tara at DSHS is she's had the experience of a local agency. And so she feels kind of that uneasiness and wanting to get things started, and also knowing how important your input is as local agencies, getting that in and making use of it in this plan. So I'm really glad Tara's there. She has some, thoughts and feelings based on how things went last time. And there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? No news on Angela's replacement yet. So at this point, if someone were to come in, they likely wouldn't start until February 1st. And that's my hope, that they have someone in by that time. And I say that because that could change a lot of things, depending on who the person is and how much they want to kind of control how things go, even as kind of late in the game as we are. So yeah, sorry, a lot of unknowns still, and very uncomfortable, but happy to answer any questions or kind of open it up for discussion if you all are interested. Hey, Linda.
Yeah, one more thing. So I'm assuming we'll get some kind of heads up if they're before May for any amendments, if there is an opportunity to ask for additional funds for specific projects and or whatever.
Yep.
And what the parameters would be around that. Do you have any sense, Morgan, of what that timeline might look like for us?
Yeah, we're hoping to start the templates here within the next couple of weeks. We're still waiting to hear from DSHS on what our underspend is. And then those amendments would happen hopefully in May. So for that larger ask of new projects or funding, that's what we hope to get started very soon.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions or thoughts? We have a lot of time. That was actually our last agenda topic. So I want to make sure that we, talk through thoughts or concerns. I know it's getting late in the year and we're all feeling uncomfortable. So I just want to kind of open up and allow that space.
Thank you, Morgan, for those updates. We'll give people a couple minutes in case they think of any questions or comments. And as always, you can let us know as time marches on, whatever comes to your mind that you'd like to know.
Sarah, I see your question in the chat. So keep your dollars in the budget for travel. There's like I said, there's like thoughts of convening a forum planning committee for a forum yet this year. So obviously not in Q1, possibly Q3, but we are still figuring out if that's feasible, what the forum would be and kind of all the details around it. So to be continued, and I hope to have a solid update for that next month. Julie, go ahead.
Hi, this is on Q1 reporting, and it's just kind of a disconnect for me. So our Q1 report is due January 17th, but Q1 parents reporting is due January 31st. And that seems kind of backwards to me. Is it because of reporting? I mean, it's, our Q1 report basically deals with our pairs Q1. It just seems weird. What's the reason? Is it because of your reporting timeline?
Yeah, it's our due dates, basically. So we have to turn your reports around into we have to compress it all into one report for DSHS. And so we gave ourselves like a week and a half time turnaround to get that done. So yeah, it's the odd way that due dates kind of pop up.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Here's one about quarter reporting. So we still are going ahead and entering our data for the next quarter, but it's in the quarter section that says Q2. And so that's not an issue, is it? I mean, when you're compressing your Q1 data to send to someone else, you just take it from our quarterly report, and anything we've added since the first of the month it's separated on the report, so that's not an issue, is it?
You're talking like you've added things in pairs since for Q2 that we may be like running into.
Well, I was actually thinking of the report, the quarterly report itself, because there's some stuff we might enter on that report that isn't really in pairs because it doesn't fall into a category like program activity or what have you. And I'm not suggesting that I'm so together that I
I was going to be very impressed, Linda.
of the end of the quarter, but sometimes I do go in and put in stuff that may not have a pairs ID number. But the way the report's set up, it shouldn't be an issue.
No, I think, yeah, since you'll be putting it in like the Q2 area, I don't think that'll be an issue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's working really great with Box, by the way.
Yay, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Hey, Megumi.
Hi, so my question is about next 3-year planning.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that you'll be giving us timeline sometime soon, but can you give us like a rough time? Like, is it going to be March when we should be having next 3-year ideas, or May, or some rough idea would be helpful?
Yeah, I can give a rough idea. So I'll start backwards. So DSHS is due to send their plan to FNS mid-August. So they have it, DSHS asks for implementing agencies to have everything in by mid-July, July 15th-ish. And so typically we are asking for everything from you all, I think mid-June, and team, correct me if that's wrong. I think we're typically giving ourselves as an IA about a month. So we've still got plenty of time, and there are some bigger questions that still need to be addressed. One of them is, for example, budget templates. Over the last year, FNS has been proposing a whole new way of looking at budgets, in that we would set them up by intervention or project rather than agency. And so that was something that Angela was fighting actually quite a bit. It seemed, because it would have made a lot more work. We still don't know which direction they went on that. We're also still waiting on what's called N pairs, and that is what we as IAs and the state agency DSHS will be entering information into for the state plan. That's still going through the office of, I think it's OMB at the federal level, and they are in their 30-day, their 30-day comment window for the public. So we are still waiting on templates and things on our side that may not come through until February, potentially March. It's going to be tight. And, we'll do the best we can to kind of mitigate that stressful feeling of having to get things through now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was just going to jump in and add that we also don't have all the information that, as Morgan was saying, that we need, but it's not a bad time to start thinking about what you would like to be doing, even though you don't have the full parameters. So what we've been doing on our team is just to start to plan what we would like to be working on, so that we've done some of that work that we can plug into whatever framework does come up and come out of the discussions with the leadership team and the requirements from FNS. So even though we don't know all the information, it's not a bad time to be sort of reflecting on what's been going well and what areas you really want to lean into and where your team skill sets are and all of that.
Hey, Elizabeth.
Hi. I have a question about the eCornell training. Does anybody know how long each of the modules take to get through?
Yeah, so I should say I know the first module. So there are 3 or 4 videos that are 5 minutes or less in length. And the rest is kind of documents and templates and things to review. So far, the first module has been very quick and easy. It's very much PSE 101. Yeah, hope less than an hour. So it's so far very quick.
Thank you.
So if you miss the first module, you can go view it and then move on from there, because I just barely got registered this morning.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, it's all pretty much review for anyone, especially if you've taken the systems approaches training.
And that systems approaches training is still available for registration through CTW if some new staff would choose to do that instead of the Cornell?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Megumi, are we expected to finish the material before the group meeting? I think that's the expectation. But this will be the first. This week is the start. Actually, today is the first meeting. So we're kind of going in it the same as you all of what's this gonna look like. So it's new to us too.
Can I jump in? It's Elizabeth again.
Yeah.
Are you guys hearing anything about any new guidance coming out from FNS or changes to the guidance that we should be aware of?
So what we have heard, a few of us were able to catch the intro to the new nutrition group, which Angela is now a part of. And actually ran into Angela at Fancy this last year. And so I kind of asked her what she was up to. And the way she made it sound was that she and her group don't plan for there to be like huge updates or changes to the guidance this year. What they are focusing on is clarity what's in the guidance. You know, they all have experience from our level of the questions and the grayness that the guidance kind of leads to. And so they want to clarify all of that before making major changes. That was kind of what she gave me when I talked to her. I think if there are no other thoughts or questions, we can close out our big meeting and stay behind for anyone who has you know, specific questions that they want for their agency, or if you're newer and you have questions on some of the acronyms or things that we used. Diane, is there potential for more flexibility on eligibility? Good question. That's a good question. Are you asking as far as the FNS guidance?
Excuse me. Yes, a little bit, and mostly because when we look at a community level, oftentimes, excuse me, we struggle with census tract data where $1 million home is near lower income homes, and so it skews everything.
Yep.
And so just wondering if there's if anybody's kind of looking at potential ways of working around those scenarios so that folks aren't left out.
That's a really good question, Diane. Census data is really helpful sometimes as a first try around eligibility, because there's a simple reference and we can look it up, and if it works, it works. But more often than not, it doesn't work. And so there was a statewide eligibility work group the last couple of years before Angela left FNS, and we worked on what kind of considerations we could take into account for eligibility. And there's a section in the approved state plan that talks about those considerations. So you're welcome to take a look at that, and also to talk to us anytime you want to start talking about eligibility for something that's a little more challenging, that may not be approved by publicly available data.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
A random question in line with the data or eligibility. So we're also through WSU in Clark County, and I got an email through WSU saying that, like, for PSE, you absolutely have to put in demographic information. I'm not sure that that's something that we've always had access to, and so I wanted to know if that is correct.
Are you talking now about participant reach as opposed to eligibility, like when you're, yes, so you're talking about like when you're, that's okay, just want to make sure I was on the right page with you. So when you're in pairs, that you're filling out demographic data.
Mm-hmm.
Do the pairs experts want to step in and speak to that?
What we heard at we raised this question as well at the evaluation feedback meeting, and the evaluation team clarified for us that if your project is in like implementation mode, so right, we wouldn't expect demographics necessarily for the planning stage of a process, but if you're supporting the implementation of PSE work, that they would expect demographics connected to the reach numbers. So if your project is sort of in that stage and it's not as clear cut as working in a school where you'd have that demographic data, or working in partnership with a program who might have program data on their participants, definitely reach out to us, because we know this is sometimes challenging, and we can help brainstorm if there's a sort of reasonable way to make an estimate based on publicly available data that hopefully wouldn't be hard to get. But we're happy to chat about that with you if you're running into challenges with having not a super clear cut way to get that data on a site that you're partnering with.
Yeah, thank you.
Amy, I think there's a question for you in the chat from Linda.
Yeah, I was just trying to follow up on what Diane asked, and Amy responded about there's some other way we could access some information, and I wasn't clear how we do that. Is it just by contacting someone on the DOH team with our situation and determining from there, or I wasn't sure about how to interpret the answer.
Okay, so two different pieces. Yes, you can definitely contact DOH for your need. The other piece I was referring to was that the statewide eligibility work group came up with a list of considerations, and to be clear, and they appear in the state SNAP-Ed plan. So you can actually look that up and see what the different considerations are that we wrote in. And it is a situation where, these are considerations that, are considerations that are not limited to the list that we put in the state plan either. We put things in there that would be, most likely scenarios that we are familiar with, like, things like how close in proximity is the place you're serving to another place where there are SNAP-Ed services, and just a number of considerations like that. And it's in the state plan I think if you search by the word qualifying, you might find it. I can find the page numbers though and tell you, Linda, so you can look it up if you like.
Yeah, and is that on Box? Is that on Box?
Do we have our state plan up on Box now?
I don't think so. I think the latest state plan would be on the WASNAP-Ed for Providers page.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This has been nice to have the time to process a few questions and talk more. Seems like it might be a good time to transition to staying on afterwards if people don't have anything else at the moment. So thank you all so much for joining us this morning. It's great to see you all and hear you, and hope for a terrific new year for you. We'll be on for more questions if you like.